Okay, good morning, friends. We're continuing Mishnah Daf Hashavua. We're learning Siman Tzadi Dalid Seif Vav. Siman Tzadi Dalid Seif Vav. Choila mispalel afilu shoichev al tzidai. Someone who's ill could daven even lying on his side. V'hu shiach lechavein daita, as long as he could have kavana. Says Ramavim, Yev shaloi lespal. If it's impossible for him to daven mikamakom yahar belibai, he should at least think it. Shenemar imru vilvavchem al mishkavchem. Say in your hearts on your bed. So someone who is ill, even if he's lying down, if he could have some form of kavanah, he should. If he can't, he should at least think the tefillah. Says the Mishna, an old person who can't stand should sit in his place. Now, the Shulchan Aruch says shoichev al tzidai, because you're not supposed to say Shema kisha shoichev praktan, on your back or on your front. By the way, it's very interesting. I didn't know this. Praktan means either flat on your back or flat on your stomach. Rav Shlomo Zalman says that if you're lying on your back, but your head is propped up on pillows, or the head of the bed is propped up like in a hospital, there's no problem. It's not praktan. It's not praktan. You don't have to go on your side. Reb Scheinberg also said, the geder praktan is if you're horizontal. Why? Rav Scheinberg says the geder praktan is kishashoichev upanav klape mala. But if you're on a recliner, it's different than Rav Shlomo Zalman. Rav Shlomo Zalman says if your head is propped up, that's not praktan. But the problem is your avar is still facing upward. Rav Scheinberg says if you're on a recliner, see, when you're on a recliner, the guf itself is not horizontal. Maybe that might be different. Okay, but L'maisa, Rav Shlomo Zalman does say if your head is propped up, that's not called praktan. Fine. So he brings from the Shevet HaLevi that a choila who is not able to stand for the whole Shemona Esrei, he should stand for Avos and then continue as much as he can, and he should sit for the rest. Fine. Says Berura, Sivkan Chavav Yahar Beliba. Ve'efsha the Yoitze v'zeh b'diavad. It could be b'diavad your Yoitze. Your Yoitze, in other words, let's say the guy starts feeling better later in the day. Ve'in tzarch lachso espalo, he doesn't have to go back and daven afilum hivri b'zman tefillah. Even if he became healthy again and he's feeling okay at the time of tefillah, me'acher sha'anu su'ata, because now he's an anus. At the time that he was mahar belibai, he was an anus, and b'diavad, if you're an anus, here works. V'ayin pri chadash pri megadim v'ayin le'el b'sim samach beis sivdav mishabrua uber halacha sham. That the conclusion is legabe kriya shema. If somebody wasn't feeling well and they had to be mahar shema, and now they're feeling better, they should say it again. Legabe brachas hamazon, they should say it again. Legabe other brachas, if you want to rely on the rishonim, that you have to say it again, lo hifsid. V'meinu yachal lechavein datoi. If you mamish can't have kavana, try to say Shema if you can. Lefish kavanas kriya Shema eno ella pasuk rishain. For Shema, all you have to do is have kavana for the first pasuk. V'kal yuchal lechavin. In other words, if someone's really not feeling well and they mamish can't daven, they should at least say Shema. So someone who's not feeling it and they can't daven, they should at least say kriya Shema. Okay. Sif Zayin. Mi shahayu loy anasim mikan umikan masar shama yafsiku tfilasai or yafsidu mikachai. Someone who has anasim, you have marauders, you have people who are going to assault you, and you're afraid they're going to interrupt your tefillah, or they're going to ruin your merchandise. Sit and daven. You don't have peace of mind. even though you have to take 3 steps back. Yoishev, sit, umispalel, and daven, v'kareya, and bow. Either 3 steps. What could you do? I don't think there's a way to take 3 steps back while you're sitting. How are you supposed to take 3 steps back while you're sitting? But, well, you have no choice. So it's better to have some type of peace of mind while you're davening than to take this 3 steps back. Fine. Says the Mishnah Berura. Says the Mishnah Berura. Sif Ches says the Mechaber. Yesh li zar shaloi lismaich atzmai la'amod oy lechaver b'shat tefillah. You should be careful not to lean on a pillar or on your friend while you're davening. Don't lean while you daven. That's not considered. That's not considered sitting. Leaning. That's not considered standing. Says the Mishnah shaloi lismaich. Hatam, the reason is that tefillah tzricha amida. Tefillah needs standing. Kilakaman b'siman tzadik ches. Ve'amida sha'al yidei smicha, standing by leaning, loy chashiva amida, is not called standing. Standing by leaning is not considered standing. So, by the way, that's an issue by, let's say by Rosh Hashanah, by Tkiyah Shofar. You need to hear Shofar standing. So you have a guy, he's leaning on his amud. Please stand straight. Stand up. Stop leaning. Stand up. Ulefiza smicha ktsas. Says Mishra, according to this, leaning a little bit. Says the Mishabura, but to lean on something that if you would take away that thing, you would not fall, that's permitted. Some say the reason is that tzricha lios be'ema. Some say the reason is that Shemana Esrei tefillah needs to be in reverence. Accordingly, it would be aser in any way. Now, what about during Chazoras Hashatz? I told you about the money changers, the money changers during Chazoras Hashatz. So we know you can't do that already. What about leaning? The Rama later on, Siman Kuf Chav Dalid, brings that the tzibur needs to stand. The Shulchan Shalom writes, you could lean in a way that if you take away that what you're leaning on, you'd be able to remain standing. Meaning you could lean a bit. During Chazoras Hashatz, you could lean a bit. Because otherwise, Chazoras Hashatz is the hardest avodah of the whole day. You have to be listening to every word, and you need to be mechavein when you hear the bracha, that you believe that the bracha is true, and that you're mispalel, that it should come true. So it's a big avodah. So if you're a little tired, you could lean in a way, but not enough that if I pull it away, you're going to fall down. If we come to your shul and we pull away your stender and you fall down, that was not a good leaning. We're not going to do that to you. You just make your own estimation. Now this is interesting. What about... Okay, so there are 2 reasons why you can't lean. One is because it's not called standing, and in that case, if you could lean without falling, it would be okay. And the other reason is because it needs to be be'emo v'yira, and according to that, any leaning at all is aser. If you're in a pressing circumstance, meaning you're not feeling well, you can't really stand on your own, so then you could be lenient. It's interesting regarding Kriyas HaTorah. You're not even allowed to lean a little bit. What about if you're within 4 amos of someone davening Shemana Esrei? Are you allowed to lean a little bit that if it would take away the post, you would not fall? No. Can't. You can't even smicha koldahu is also, Mr. Berura says in Siman Kuf Beis Sivkat and Aleph. But legabe amida b'halel and tkiyah shofar, there we're lenient. So each subject matter has its own set of halachos. Okay, the Mishnah Berura continues. La'amod v'lachein yizar shelo yismach atzmai agabe stender v'chein b'chol makom shetzar chamida. Therefore, you should be careful not to lean on a stender, and or any time you need to stand. Kagon b'shash sharoy sefer Torah negdai. Let's say you see a sefer Torah passing by. V'chol kayotze b'zeh. You should not lean. B'shas tefillah. Let's say a choyle who is sure that he could have kavana by standing through leaning, he should do so. Otherwise, yispalel miyushav, he should pray sitting. Meaning, if a choyle knows that he could daven, if he leans on something, that if you would take away that thing, he would fall, then he should still lean because he can't have kavana otherwise. And that's still superior to sitting. Leaning on something that if you take away that thing you would fall is still considered superior to sitting. With your permission, could we do one more? Okay, thank you.